Good afternoon. I'd like to start this meeting of the Londonderry Budget Committee at 7. We're kicking off at 7
On the dot.
p.m. Before we begin, I'm not sure if this is being recorded, so I would like to ask for a motion for a 3-minute recess so I can see if we're going to have
Motion
this.
for amendment recess?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, that's 5. Yeah, 5-0. I just want to make sure this is being recorded. We will have the minutes, but usually it's set up.
I don't see the on-air thing in Drew's.
Yeah, his station is open and it's on.
Okay.
The buttons are green.
I don't know if they're always green though. Hey, like so much for your YouTube snippet.
Oh, no, I got it. No, I was looking. I was leaning. Yeah, I did that this afternoon.
We good?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to record or whatnot. We'll have the minutes, but I just want to. It doesn't look like there's anyone else here. All right, so can I have a motion to bring us back into the meeting?
Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's 5-0. All right, so let's kick off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, you all may be seated. So first, is there any public comment? Alright, seeing no public comment, can I get a motion to close public comment?
Motion to close public
Second.
comment.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's 5-0. So we're going to kick off right into our committee business. That is the introductory remarks and questions for the candidates. Are all the candidates here? Okay, so the fairest way to do this will be in alphabetical order. Are you guys all right with that?
Yep.
From the
And-
beginning or from the end?
We'll do A to Z.
Okay.
Regular.
My first name or last name?
By last name. So we have, just so I know,
Middle name, just be funny.
El Azam, Derry, and sir, what's your last name? The
Staples.
Staples?
Oh my God,
What?
Mills.
Mills?
Who am I thinking of? As
I-
someone at work.
Oh.
Sorry.
All right, so D. So I'll give everyone 5 minutes to give some introductory remarks, and then members of the budget committee will ask you some questions afterwards. So we'll start with you, Nicole. Also, are you guys all set? 5 minutes for each of the candidates, and then we go into Q&A?
Yeah, sounds good.
Perfect. All right, Nicole, you can start off.
I don't mind starting, but I think you just said Patrick goes first.
The E.
D.
D.
No, D.
D's first. Okay, great.
Yeah,
I assume you want me to come up here.
You can take a seat.
Oh,
Whatever you're most from the at the microphone. I'm sorry. You can do from the podium. You can sit down on a chair. Whatever's most comfortable
I'll
for
stand.
you.
I'm so short. I'll look like a little kid down there.
I hear ya.
Okay, hi guys. I'm Nicole Derry, so thanks for having me. I brought some notes with me just so I don't forget anything. Okay, so why am I here? Let me tell you that to start. I moved to this town about 14 years ago. I have a family here. I'm a homeowner, and I actually grew up around here, not in this town, but always had family here. So have been coming here forever. And the short answer of why I'm interested in this role really is that I just care about the town I live in. I've been watching meetings and attending some meetings for a few years now, Previously, I didn't have the time to really dedicate to it, but I do now. And I feel really strongly that people in town need to participate, right? Like, this is where we live. And I want to bring whatever skills I have to the table and offer myself basically to help the town to take a role and to learn more about what we do here, and to create transparency and participate as a community member. Should I tell you some more stuff?
There we go.
Yeah, go right ahead. You're a minute 20 in.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, so maybe I can tell you a little bit about the experience that I have. I've been working in corporations, both small and large, for about 27 years. For 25 of those years, I've been in a management position. I've managed teams globally, small teams, big teams, hire, fire, layoffs, all of those things. The companies I've worked for are typically technology-driven. I have a long history in customer support type director roles, meaning I'm really great with complaints. So I bring a thick skin. And so I think some of the skills that I can bring from that experience is I'm really organized. I'm very type A. I like to know things. So I'm not the kind of person who will make decisions without understanding what I'm talking about. I ask a lot of questions. Let's see. Oh, yeah, so this is a good one. I've spent a lot of time having to justify spending, justify why we need another person, using metrics and analytics to show why something's needed, and then to show that it did what we thought it would do, right? Like, prove that it's working kind of thing. And I think those questions are the questions I would bring to the budget a bit. And in fact, I was looking at the budget and came away with like 100 questions of those, of that type, just to really understand, what is this thing? Why do we need it? Why is there a huge discrepancy from last year or the year before? That kind of thing. So yeah, I think that's kind of in a nutshell what I'm looking to bring. I don't know if you have any questions about that, or if I'm at my time.
You still have time left, but we can, if you want us to go into questions, we can.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so I guess we'll start from right and we'll move our way down.
Oh, okay. Sorry, what was that? I have a couple. I think you kind of mentioned some of this before, but I'm going to give kind of the same, like, 3 initial questions to everyone. And then I'm going to give 1 unique question to each candidate, just to up front. So why do you want to be on budget committee? In a short, sweet version? Because
I want to be a participant, an active participant in the town that I live in, so I can help influence what it becomes and what it is, and so that I can help, like, protect it a little bit. I feel like the community, that we want to protect the community, people being able to live here and enjoy living here.
Okay, cool. And did you attend deliberative session?
I did. Well, I attended half of the town one. I couldn't make the first half.
Yeah, it was a long one.
and I attended the school one, yeah.
Cool, okay. If you're on the committee today, and given all the articles that are on the warrant, what would you have supported or not supported, like, in a brief summary? Like, pick your favorites.
What would I have supported and not supported? Jeez. Well, sorry, I'm just picking some things out of my mind that I'm remembering.
Okay.
I didn't love the body cam one, the police one, not because I think it's not important. I think it is important. I forget who somebody at some point asked, why can't we use like a lesser, cheaper version? And we didn't want to do that. I heard that in some meeting. Sorry, I'm reaching into my mind.
The man behind
Oh,
you.
perfect.
The man not behind the curtain.
Yeah.
There we go. Like, who said that? I'm just trying to reach into my memory. Yeah, so I feel like maybe we could do a better job in keeping the cost down there. So that's an example of something. The vast majority of the warrant articles, I think I would support. one that had some discussion was like the library one with the children's room. Like, I would support that. I think they said what they had 14,000 visitors or something. I forget the amount of time that covered, but like, this is a major resource for our town, and it's one of the things that people who live here feel like is free. I know it's not free. I fully understand that, but if you live here and you don't have a lot of money and you have kids or whatever, or you're feeling squeezed financially, you can go to the library. Like, that's a really amazing service for people.
And
Can I follow up with that one?
yeah, go for it.
So there's 2 warrant articles for the library position. Would you do the full-time or the
Or the
part-time?
Part-time. I have to say, I wish I had more information before I answered that question. Like, I would be curious what truly are the busiest times, for instance, right? Like, give me a list of the programs that are happening in that room, right? I mean, I think if they could cover it with a part-time, that I would say, I would go with probably a conservative answer. But it depends on what they're trying to achieve, right? If you can't achieve that, I mean, I understood from the trustees some discussion about it's hard to keep people basically in the role if you're only offering part-time. So if the library, for instance, experiences tons of turnover, well, it costs money to turn people over also. So I would be looking for a little more information, but that's kind of how I feel.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Sorry to take over.
No, you're fine. Yeah, I mean, my list goes first, I guess. Last question, and this is me again. My last question. I kind of snooped your Facebook pages. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fair.
So your campaign page on your top in your description, it said one of your goals is to see the town thrive. Can you describe what that means to you? It's kind of again, broad statement.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, the town is a place where people feel like they can afford to live, right? I know we hear a lot of discussion about people who are retired and on fixed incomes, things like that. I also think, though, that there are services that we have to make the town be a place that other people want to be, right? Like, you want the schools to be good. Londonderry, part of the reason I moved here was growing up, all of the reputation of the school system was that it was very good, right? That attracts families, and that helps our home prices, that helps our sale price on our home. If you're someone who's not trying to sell your home, that doesn't feel good, right? So it's like you can't make everybody happy, I think. But ideally thriving, we would have good services and people could afford to live here. I don't know if that's achievable in the current climate, depending on how things sort of progress over time here and what inflation does and things like that. But that's what I would love to see.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, sure.
Well, he kind of took my question. What would you vote no on? And that was it. So body cams, it sounds like.
Kate?
Yep, mine was, let's see here. When you were looking at the budget this year and going through the process, was there anything in there that you thought, this is way too much, we should probably make some cuts here? Or did you see something that's like, we're really only spending that much? Is that enough of an investment in the town in terms of what we think we might need in the future? Because I had the deliberative question as well, but you took that one.
Sorry. Jason.
We'll go the opposite way the next time.
Will do.
That's a good question. Sorry, I'm just trying to think. I think that, so I really liked that the town budget in particular had, I think it went back to 2022, so you could see like a trend. I thought that was really helpful. I actually don't have a very specific answer for this question. I did see some spots where there was like a massive uptick in cost. Like, so for instance, I think it was the town benefits. It was like health and dental. I think was up. It was notable because it was like over $1 million increase. So that kind of caught my mind, and I was like, wow, what's
That
that?
keeps going way up, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't cut that, assuming that it's legitimately the cost of those things,
Yep.
but that caught my eye. But I didn't look at it and think, oh, we're dramatically overfunded somewhere, because again, I didn't have the granular details of what that thing covered. Like you have a salary line, but it doesn't tell you how many salaries it's for, right? It would be great to know that. Or I was really wishing that the budget had some indicator that said this thing is like legally required, because okay, let's not bother looking at that. Let's move to the other things.
Yeah, like the insurance, that is a union contract, so we can't,
Right.
it's something we have to provide. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, overall, I was actually fairly impressed that over all those years that the budgets, I mean, of course, it's going to change. There's inflation of everything, right? Pencils cost more, so things will change. But I thought it was a pretty decent job. I mean, not having all the details, to be honest, I thought it was pretty good.
Thank you.
All right.
Sure.
Oh, thank you. I'm Dave. My question is, I'm going to ask everybody the same question. So I think if it's fair, if Nicole wants to come back in as a rebuttal, would that be okay? Because everybody's going to get the same question.
Sure.
So one of the things, of course, you look at the budgets between the town. Of course, there's a $500,000 discrepancy between the two. If the proposed budget by the town gets voted down, well, what would be your recommendations to, deal with that shortfall of $500,000? Where would you recommend your cuts?
With the information I have today,
Yep.
Because again, I would love to sit down and just ask someone to go through all the lines with me and really understand it. I mean, there were a lot of pockets of like miscellaneous kind of expenses. I'm curious what that stuff is, like what's thrown in there. And some of them are big, like some of those pockets it's like $150 of miscellaneous, $150,000. What is that? So I think I would go through the budget and try to find some spots where something's just not clear. I don't think we are really overpaying people personally. But, I mean, it would be interested to understand where all the salary information comes from. But the miscellaneous lines in particular, I think it's just like hidden stuff. I don't think it's malicious, but you just don't know what that is.
Okay. All set? Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, and from me, the budget committee, it can be throughout the year some of a light commitment up until we get to budget season, where we're here several nights a week, either here or over at school, 4 hours on end. Our meetings, they start at 7, and regardless of what day of the week they are during budget season, some of them we even have weekend days where we're required to be there and take a look and listen to budget presentations. Will you be able to meet the time commitment of the budget committee?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel that you have to if you're going to participate. So, I mean, I don't have a list of the meeting dates in front of me, but yes, yeah, I do. I have heard that there are a lot of meetings
Yeah,
during the intense time.
November to February, yep.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, yes, I certainly, I wouldn't ever want to take a position like this or be in a position like this without like giving 100%, because that's just not the way I roll. I would want to do the best job I can do.
What skills from your personal or work life are you going to be bringing, will be an asset to the budget committee should you be elected?
Well, like I said, I ask a lot of questions. Sometimes I'm brutally honest, and I'm okay with that. I don't mind being questioned. I don't have any issues standing up for myself if I have a belief. I'm organized. I really don't like waste and inefficient things. I mean, I don't really know how things run, but I would, as a side note, I would love to see whatever I can do to participate in, like, administratively helping things run well. I actually have a fairly strong suit in doing that type of thing, like organizing stuff and just making it efficient. So I would hope to bring that here.
Right, and then lastly, there's been throughout this budget season, there's been two schools of thoughts of what the residents want. It's either fulfilling all the asks of the different departments and keeping everything funded to their request, or bring the budgets near default due to sharp increases in property tax over the past several years, and residents being concerned that they're being taxed out of their homes.
Yep.
Would you be more inclined to work towards funding the departments fully, or working towards keeping the budget closer to default for both town and school?
Sorry, that's a loaded question.
Well, I mean,
I mean, so I think I have empathy for people who are challenged to pay their taxes. So I understand that that's hard. And it's a problem. People don't want to move out of their houses. I get it. On the flip side, there's stuff that this group and the town council and the school board cannot control, right? We don't control the price of people's houses or the assessed values. We don't control inflation. And a lot of that is playing into what's happening here. And now, you know, I have a fear that some of the changes we see at a federal level, without getting political, but I think, you know, we may see some impact to some of the state money that comes into our town. That could happen. I hope it doesn't, but it could. And if it does, I think there will be some challenging questions to answer. I mean, I would be more in favor of funding services as much as we can, as opposed to just slashing stuff. Like, I'm not of the mindset that we should show up at a deliberative and wipe $1 million out of the budget with an amendment because we think that's a good idea. That's not for me.
All right. Well, that's all I have for questions. Is there anything else from you guys? All right. Thank you very much for coming tonight, Nicole.
Thanks, guys.
All right. All right, Patrick, you're up next.
Thank you.
And again, it'll be 5 minutes to give an introduction and then questions from the budget committee.
Sounds good, thank you. I'd like to start actually by acknowledging and appreciating Nicole for being the first to take all those questions. So good evening, everyone. My name's Patrick Alazim, and actually it's an honor to stand before you as a candidate for the budget committee this year. I've lived here in town, and my wife and I have raised our family here. We've been here for almost 24 years. And several of our children we've actually adopted through the state of New Hampshire, so we're very, very invested in both New Hampshire and Londonderry. I've always thought, and I brag about our town, that it's safe and beautiful, thriving here, well-run. It's just a place where we all want to see families and also businesses succeed. I'll keep it kind of brief just to be respectful for everyone's time. There's a lot I could say about my personal or professional background. A little bit similar to Nicole, I have a long background in the high-tech industry with a lot of very deep technical and engineering kind of roles, also team management and budget management and such. But my campaign website is elazem.com, ELAZEM.com, so like my last name, but without that annoying hyphen. So if you have questions or comments or you need to know more, just go there, contact me, I'll definitely get back to you. The Budget Committee has a critical role in our town to ensure that both the town and school district budgets are fiscally sound. And you know, the Budget Committee, you all, and thank you for all your work on this, you're a voice for taxpayers, and you provide recommendations and information out to taxpayers in a clear, nonpartisan way. And you do really a very important job to make sure that every dollar is spent wisely. Anyone who manages a family budget can certainly sympathize. I look forward to helping with that if elected. I am very analytical, similarly to Nicole, and in any new role, this would be my first time running for town office, but also in my career, I've had many new roles. The first thing to do is to understand where are we, right? And to do a lot of analysis. First, understand, ask questions. In my case, because of many of the professional situations I've been in also, I know that when you do a job, like the hard work that the folks who work for the town and school do to keep things running, having somebody new come and ask a bunch of questions, that can be a bit of a distraction. So I'm very respectful about that. And one of the things that I've tried to do in my professional career is find ways where, well, if I'm always asking you for data, for spreadsheets and such, are there ways where we can actually automate this to make this easier for everyone involved? I've done a lot of that kind of work in my career, and I hate having my time wasted, so I'm gonna be very respectful towards the people who actually do the hard work running things every day. Yes, I expect that they'll be helpful and answer questions and give a lot of financial info, but let's do it in the gentlest way possible for their time. As I mentioned, this is my first time running for local office, and my first priority, if elected, is going to be to work hard, to learn fast, understand the details of how the Budget Committee operates, what its mission is, and just be, again, respectful of everyone's time and productivity. So partly why am I doing this? A little bit of a check-in. I like to contextualize things with data. So I think we all know housing's gotten much more expensive over the past few years. Home insurance premiums are up over 33%, over a third, just in 6 years from 2018 to 2024. That factors into our costs. New mortgages have interest rates 50 to 100% higher than just a couple of years ago. The median mortgage payment out there, this is nationally, has been near all-time highs for the last several years now by several measures, Case-Shiller, the Atlanta Fed, and so on. And the total cost of ownership, that is not only our mortgage, but our taxes, our interest, et cetera, that's now at an all-time high, actually since October, and that's again according to the Atlanta Fed. So costs have been going up and up and up and up for years, and as a matter of fact, the percentage of our incomes that goes towards housing nationally is now even higher than it was before the 2008 real estate crisis. So these are facts to keep in mind when we talk about what do we do at a local level. And by the way, for anyone who's curious about any of those numbers and the source data, I've got all that, contact me if you're curious. Locally, as was already mentioned, property taxes, assessments have also been rising, and all of that together affects our monthly housing costs. So my point here is housing costs are a concern for all of us, and especially with Londonderry's growth. That could be young families coming in, as well as people who are maybe living on fixed incomes and have been here for a long time. We want to be a hospitable town for young families, people starting their careers, people having kids, people who move here, as Nicole said, because of the great schools. Right?
30 seconds.
Pardon me?
30 seconds.
Okay. We may not be able to control everything, all the external costs, but we can be fiscally smart here at the town level. And so the town charter says the Budget Committee is the eye of the taxpayer. The eye both sees passively and looks actively, and I intend to do that, if elected, for all of our taxpayers, as well as being transparent and putting all my source data and analysis online. I've already got some of that. Anyone who wants to see more can get in touch with me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice job.
How many seconds did I have left out of curiosity?
So I started a little after, so you had under 1 second left. that was phenomenal.
Nailed it.
All right. Reverse order, same order. You guys
Reverse
good?
order? Yeah.
Sure, reverse. Why not?
All right. My same question. What would be your recommendations for removing $500,000 if we have to from the town budget?
Okay. Based on what I know so far, I'm going to say a caveat up front. I'm going to name one or two things that I would look at, but I would gather more information to ensure that, yeah, that's actually justifiable. So one thing, for example, is overtime costs. Not regular salaries. People are definitely the most important part that we have in town and school government, but why are we paying a lot in overtime? Is it because we had storms? Unavoidable. Or is it because we're maybe not filling regular positions? So I would go there because I noticed there was a fair amount of overtime. Another thing that I would look at, which I noticed, is in various areas for equipment, IT, et cetera, we're spending decent amounts of money. Again, that may be justified. Maybe there's a cycle of equipment refreshing that's needed after several years, but that caught my eye a little bit because I've done a lot of that professionally also. So probably those two right off the bat are two things I'd look at. But again, I want to be clear. First, I would actually analyze in a trend over several years. How are we looking, and how are we looking versus other municipalities also?
Thank you.
Kate.
So did you attend, I do believe I actually saw you at deliberative because I remembered your face
Yes.
because you asked all the questions about the police body cam at one of the town council meetings. So like people who do that, I just sometimes remember them. So I think, I remember you being at the deliberative session. What were your thoughts on the deliberative session as a whole? The discussions going around about it, like what kind of piqued your interest about deliberative sessions? And what would you hope to bring to a deliberative session if a member of the budget committee?
Absolutely. Couple of quick things offhand. I did attend both of them, the school and the town, and I have in the past also as work allows. Actually, one of my impressions was that it was remarkably civil, and also, compared to some years, right?
Yeah.
And also, actually, I got to congratulate the town staff. The town one was shorter than anyone expected also. One more specific thing, and I have to acknowledge you here, you spoke briefly about why you voted a certain way on a couple of the recommendations, and I thought that was just a really good discussion. Good community asking questions, good response back and forth. So hopefully those couple of things answer the question.
Yeah, it does, yep. And then in terms of the budget, and me asking, same question I asked Nicole about, what part of the budget do you think might be kind of inflated? What part do you think we might want to invest a little bit more in? Those kinds of things, both either school or town.
Sure. So first of all, the school budget, I have to give the school district props this year. I mean, they actually lowered the budget a little bit. That is amazing, because that's honestly not something we're used to seeing. So for them, I would give them huge congratulations to that. As for on the town side, I'd go back to what I just said to Dave. I'd go look at, if right now, if I was on the spot and I had Mr. Campo here, I'd start looking at what are our overtime costs and why are we incurring that much? And then again, I'd look at some of the depreciable assets, the IT equipment and so on. Maybe fully justified, but let's look at it.
Yeah, old equipment actually sometimes ends up costing more in the long run, you're right, yep.
Yeah, so it could go either way, right? Do we keep something that's kind of an anchor around our neck? Or do we say, as with, for example, moving the SAU offices and that new kindergarten part, yes, it's a short-term expense, which I actually asked about also, but then I got in discussions with several people, and they helped me understand, actually, if you look at it long-term, this is a good thing. There's a bump, but then there's a decline. And so back to Nicole's point, also, just ask a lot of questions first.
Yep, thank you.
Sure.
Right, Sarah?
So the same kind of question, what warrant articles would you vote no on?
Honestly, I don't like warrant articles that draw from the unallocated fund balance and make something seem free when it's really not. That's town money. And so I look at that and I go, okay, well, it's quote unquote free now, but what about in future years if we can't depend on the unallocated fund balance? I feel like if I was going to look askance at any article, it would be one that hid the costs today and maybe incurred costs in the future, right? As a sidebar, I would add that maybe in future years, or maybe this year, there could be a movement such that if an article was going to want to use funding from the unallocated fund balance, maybe we put in place a requirement that says in the article, what is the current unallocated fund balance so that people get an appreciation of that. If you're going to take $20,000 from the UFB, well, what's in there? Is it 5 million or is it 23,000? That could also help people make a more informed decision.
Thank you.
Interesting point.
Yeah.
Are you good? Yeah. All right, Jason.
All right, I'll see what questions I have left. Okay, your one-liner of why you want to be on budget committee.
To serve my community.
Excellent. Yeah, okay, you guys took those. And I think I'm actually good. I think, Joe, you have my question of can you meet the resource, the time, and actually, I guess I'll steal it. Can you meet the time commitment, and do you plan to serve the full term?
Yes, my nest is empty now. And over the past couple of years, my work schedule has steadily become more and more work from home. So my hours are much more flexible now than they used to be.
Awesome. Thank you.
My pleasure.
All right, so that one's done. So I had these in order. Oh, yeah. So what skills from your personal life or your work life should you be elected, will you bring to the budget committee that would be an asset to us?
Yeah, personal life-wise, Laura and I have 5 kids, and from a smushed together kind of background, and also I married into an extremely large, loud family. So I'm kind of really good at managing a lot of noise and chaos and staying calm. And professionally speaking, I'm a big fan of Dale Carnegie. right? First, acknowledge and appreciate, and again, reach out and make connections. While I am very analytical, I'm a nerd by nature, again, a little bit similar to Nicole. Honestly, it's human connection and trust that matters when we do important work that affects everyone's pocketbook and their monthly bills, right? And so if I'm going to go, for example, if elected, ask for a spreadsheet full of financial data to do some analysis about it, how are we with regard to similar municipalities and such? It helps if you first serve, if you first introduce yourself, if you make the first step and build that trust and that openness, right? Because otherwise, somebody's naturally going to ask, who are you? Why do you want this? Why are you looking to waste my time? And what are you going to do with this, right? So trust and openness and relationship building.
All right, and then lastly, like I asked Nicole, there's been two schools of thoughts during this budget season. Either we need to be funding all of our services to the maximum, to what's being asked by all the department heads, or bringing the town school budgets closer to default to give some relief to the taxpayers. Which school of thought do you align with most? Going into this upcoming budget season, should you be elected, will you be working closer to get all the lines filled to what the departments are asking for, or getting the budgets closer to default?
Yep. Very short answer. Spend as little as possible. Slightly longer answer, and I already have a framework for this worked out, which is on my website if anyone wants to see it. A consistent way, just a thought process, but the same attributes to look at each time. Is this a must-have? Like Nicole mentioned, if it's regulatory, we have to do it. Is it a must-have or a need or a want? And quite obviously, there's a bit of a hierarchy there. And especially right now, in a time of a little bit more uncertainty and high costs, as was already said, we don't know what's going to happen with federal and state and even county monies, so we ought to be a little bit careful about that. We also see that groceries and housing prices and such are up. Everyone's having to watch their budgets a little bit. So again, is it a must-have, is it a need, or is it a want? And there's a clear prioritization there.
Feels like a, like a grading matrix, kind of.
Yes,
Cool.
exactly.
That's
Yeah.
efficient. I like that.
And so each one of those attributes that you score on, of course, that's a judgment call every time. But at least when you put it out in the public, it's consistent and people can see exactly, well, this person asked this question and this question and this question, right? And like I said, it's all online. I don't want to take your time right now, but whoever cares, I'll be happy to share it and discuss it with you.
You would love my home maintenance project thing that I created. So very similarly, there's like a ranking system, like budget, who benefits from it, that type of thing, and you rank it, and then it will give you a number score, and then that's how we prioritize home projects. So something that we want to do that will only, like, maybe it's like renovating my master closet, it only helps me per se rather than the rest of the family, that ends up being lower than something that helps the rest of the family, that's lower cost, that's easy to do, that type of thing. So we've got like a whole little fun little, but you sound
Exactly.
very much like that, yeah.
Create
Yeah.
an app.
And so it comes
Yep.
down to, you have full freedom to figure out which attributes, which questions do I want to ask. But at least you put those out in the public so other people can see, and then they can come and yell at you here.
Yeah. Fair enough.
All right, are there any other questions?
Good.
All set? Well, thank you very much, Patrick.
Appreciate the
for
Thank you very much.
coming
Thank
this evening. All right, Nick, you're free to come up. And again, you'll be given 5 minutes to make an introduction, and then you'll be asked some questions from the Budget Committee. So start when you're ready.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for the opportunity to be here tonight. My name is Nick Mills. I am running for Budget Committee this year. As a resident of Londonderry, throughout the years, I've seen my taxes go up, and we all have. And it just came to a point in time for me where it's like, if I can aid the tax bill in some way possible, there's a lot of questions that I do have. I watched the deliberative, I think 4 or 5 times, and it just, every time I watched it, I had more and more questions about it. A lot of it, I'll tell you right now, I'm brand new to some of the stuff that you guys deal with. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to, put my name out there, let people call me names. I'm not a perfect person. Every one of us, somebody hates us, right? I'm fine with that. But I decided to put my name out there, hoping to make a difference. I'm hoping to help the people of Londonderry. I've made many friends in this area. I've lived here theoretically since about 98, 99. I did move away for a few years, started my family. I did move back about 11, 12 years ago. Bought my mother-in-law's house that my wife actually grew up in. She hates me for that, but that's all right. But yeah, I've seen the town, I mean, grow immensely. Kind of disappointing. I liked it when it was quiet, quaint, it was peaceful. Now we've got all these businesses, and you know, with that, it does bring in money, you know, to the town, which you know is nice. But you know, the thing is with taxes, I'd like to help look at the budget. I'd like to help reduce the taxes accordingly. I don't want to cut services. I know there's several departments that require the money, and I do think that they should get the money. I don't want to see, you know, the frivolous spending, you know, the reckless spending. I want to eliminate that as much as possible. Transparency is 100% must. Accountability, you know, should be right up there next to it. There's ways we can make the town grow with what budget we have. You know, we just need to be smart about it. I've been in logistics for about 25 years now. I've budgeted time. I've budgeted, you know, my employees. I've a lot of budgeting and transportation from cost to houring. I hope to bring that, you know, into the field, and you know, hopefully it helps me somewhere.
All right. Well, thank you, Nick. So we'll start back where we started off first time. Jason, you're up.
Okay, the one-liner. Why do you want to be on budget committee?
Because I want to help the Londonderry taxpayers pay appropriate taxes and be able to survive and make Londonderry great.
Did you attend deliberative session?
I did not. I had prior obligations, but like I said, I watched it, I believe, like 4 times, and it's mind-boggling. It really, really was.
If you're on the committee today, what articles would you have supported or not supported in a brief summary?
I'm a big fan of our police department. I'm a big fan of our fire department and our DPW department. I think they're well-needed departments. I do hope they get everything that they're asking for, because it helps Londonderry be a safe, you know, welcoming place.
Okay, now my tailored to you question. Okay, your campaign page says one of your goals is to see. Nope, that was Nicole's.
Yeah, be careful.
Two
Similar
N's.
names.
My bad. Your campaign page has lowered taxes now. How do you plan to do that?
By finding where we're spending money where we shouldn't be.
Okay.
I
Example?
don't have a particular example because I haven't seen line-by-line budgets yet, which I'm hoping to see at some point. I think there's probably sections of the bill that is inflated.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a little pushback on that since it's publicly available.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't had a chance to actually view it.
Understood. No further questions.
Alrighty, Sarah.
Okay, so it sounds like you would be a really good asset as far as asking a lot of questions. I think
Yes.
that would be great. And then secondly, again, what warrant articles would you say no to?
I wish I had brought my list. I probably wouldn't say no to a lot of them. I actually do want to question a lot of them. And like I said, I forgot my list, and I'm really kicking myself in the butt over that one.
That's fine. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Kate.
So we'll back to the deliberative session. You know, what do you think you would contribute to the deliberative session if you were a member of the budget committee?
I think there's too many possibilities that, you know, I could say. I'm not quite prepared to answer that
Okay.
at this moment.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Dave?
Yeah, so back to me. Same question. If you had to cut $500,000 from the town budget, what would be your recommendations?
There's
Areas,
so many
general-
departments, there's so many possibilities to, you know, view and really break down and wonder, so it's really hard to pinpoint an exact, you know, point to start at.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So the budget committee, it can be at times a large time commitment, especially during our budget season from November throughout February. Will you be able? Do you see any issues in attending all the meetings of the budget committee, either our regular ones or the budget workshops?
Nope, I have no problem with that at all. I mean, unless you're calling me at midnight saying you're gonna be there in 6 hours, I mean, that's, you know, kind of a kick.
At
But
least legally, we have to post a week out when we're going to have a meeting.
a
So
week
you're
is
good
well
on
more
that.
than- Yeah, a week is well more than enough notice.
What skills from your personal and work life do you think you'll be able to bring to the budget committee as an asset to us?
At personal life, I mean, I'm a homeowner. You know, I've had kids, or actually I still have kids, they won't move out. But, you know, obviously I've had the budget, you know, my mortgage, my taxes, you know, food, bills, I mean, all that's, you know, personally wise. Work-wise, like I said, I've been in transportation logistics for, you know, coming up to 25 years. I've been in charge of groups of people, so I've had the, you know, budget their time, I had the budget, you know, truck repairs, maintenance costs, a never-ending list of, you know, everything associated with transportation. And I'm hoping that, you know, would help me, you know, analyzing the budgets here.
All right, and then lastly, again, there's been two schools of thoughts. Either we need to be funding our services to everything that the departments have been asking for, or we need to bring the budgets for the school and town down closer to the default number. What's your your thoughts on that? Should we be funding everything that's being requested and asked for, or should we be bringing it down towards the defaults?
I'd like to see it come down towards the default just to give the taxpayers that much of a relief. If there's an issue with something that does need to be covered in, you know, a slightly increased tax bracket, then I think that would be on a case-by-case reason.
All right, that's all I have. You guys, are you all good? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Nick.
guys. Have a good night.
All right, thank you. All right, so that concludes our committee business. I would just like to leave all the candidates with this. Thank you for coming tonight. It isn't easy to come up and speak before us, and when you'll be speaking, should you be elected and speak with the taxpayers, it's first few meetings. I know I was nervous. I thought I knew exactly what I was going to be doing when I joined the budget committee, and after the first meeting, I realized I had no idea. So there's going to be a lot of learning along the way, and all of us up here that will still be on, I ask us questions. And should you fail to be elected this upcoming March, you know, always run again. Come to our meetings, learn, participate in the town, go to the council or to the school board and find other ways that you can participate on other boards or commissions. So if you lose this March, don't take that as a sign of, well, shucks, that's it for me. There's always ways that you can become involved.
Well said.
So our next meeting of, actually, are there any final thoughts from you guys that you have for the candidates?
Go ahead.
I'd just like to say it's nice to see all of you in one room and smiling and laughing. So it's really nice. Again, like we're local politics, we're not national politics. So you know we're all neighbors. So keep that in mind. No matter what you're running for, no matter what you're doing, no matter where you're posting. So you know, yeah, that's all I had to add.
All right.
Nicole, is there anything else, you know, because we did offer you to, you know, if you wanted to come up again, are you good or not, or?
No, I mean, thank you. Actually, Patrick reminded me about the overtime. When you said that, I thought, ooh, I wish I had remembered that, because that was true. But no, I don't have, I don't
Okay.
have anything to add.
All right,
Thank
thanks.
you for the offer.
I do want to reiterate what he said. It is a learning process, and don't be afraid at all. We're human. That's all.
You know, it is impressive to go through, you know, all the line items and the budget workshops and, you know, just, you know, by doing that at least the 1 year, you really get a good understanding of, you know, what we can work with and, you know, what are some of the impacts, you know, that we have to deal with. So, but yeah, if you want to see how the town functions, you know, this is a great place to start. And yeah, all the deliberatives, even the ones that went to 1:45 in the morning, yeah, that was not it was too much Mountain Dew the next day. But it was enjoyable. I mean, I did this for a year, and you know, because I started off with the Londonderry Learning Academy, not in LLA, sorry, whatever the program is that they went through. Londonderry Leadership, yes. My daughter went to LLA for kindergarten, but you know, that's why I ended up here, and it was enjoyable. But you know, I've got too many other things going on with in my personal life, and you know, with one more youngster still hanging around the house, and her time commitments are just brutal. There's one comment I want to put out there so nobody forgets. is one of the things that I noticed is, the comment about the difference between the, commercial property values and the, homeowner property values. They say you gotta be somewhere between the number of 95 to 105, or 90 to 110, between the two. Why are we skewed to one side? Why can't we just split that right damn down the middle and be right in the middle? So you look at it from each perspective, is like, the homeowners can't really say anything and the business people can't say, because then, like the appraisals, we do the math and you say, all right, let's say if we ended up favorable to commercial, why can't we just move it just a little bit to say smack dab in the middle? So that was after going through this budget process and seeing that, and it's like, why not? So that was one of my last questions after going through all the deliberative stuff, is like, why can't we do this? Then it's kind of, it's an equal number between, both people leave the party either happy or mad. It's in the middle. Thanks. I don't know.
All right,
Something to remember.
Dave, I want to thank you as well. I know you'll be leaving us. This is your last meeting as a member of the Budget Committee, so I know I've enjoyed my time with you. You're definitely going to be missed, and I'd hope that you run again in the future and we can see you back on here and work together with you again. And also Patrick, our current chairman, who had other commitments. He couldn't be here tonight, but I've had him as my chairman for 2 years now. I know I've really enjoyed my time with him. Everyone on the Budget Committee brings their own personal experiences and their own thought process towards tackling the budget. And I know you're going to be missed, and Patrick, he's going to be missed as well. So I want to thank you for serving with us on the Budget Committee and donating your time, because as you know, we make the big $0 every year for all the hours that we put in. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yeah, it was enjoyable. Thanks. It was enjoyable, it was fun, and I enjoyed everybody's comments about, how they dived into whatever their topic of interest was. It was amazing to see all the different, types of questions, the areas of questions, where people kept digging and digging and digging, and even analyzing relative to different towns and relative to libraries here, libraries there, and it was very impressive, and that's what we should be doing. Is just because we at least represent the town and the individuals, and it's like, yeah, we got to be the ones that have to go through this process and ask all the questions, and the town people should show up and ask us questions. Like our buddy Ray, he loves coming to our meetings, and I'm glad he's here today. So, but yeah, and that's where the town should approach us and say, well, what about this? What about that? And ask the questions, and then we can bring them to us. And everybody had their own interesting aspect and part of it. So, but I will also be at the town deliberatives, with my classic motion to restrict reconsideration. Because, I've had my neighbors that was like, someone came up to him and he works at the school and he says, "Where's your father?" And it's like, how come he's not here for the motion to restrict reconsiderations? It's like, no, he's not my father, he's my neighbor. So, but it's been fun. It's been very enjoyable. And thanks for all the fun times.
Oh, definitely, of course. So our meeting schedule, our next meeting is going to be Thursday, March 20th, starting at 7 p.m. I would assume kicking the first one off, we'll kick it off in here. I'll reach out to Chris to make sure that we have this room. And then the following meeting is Thursday, April 17th at 5 p.m. 7 p.m. Sorry, 7 p.m., not 5. Now, are there any final comments from you guys before we wrap up
Should
tonight?
we do one more official public comment, because Ray is here?
Sure. Can I have a motion to open public comment?
I would like to make a motion to open to public comment.
All in favor?
Aye.
You have any words for us, Ray?
Sorry to put you on the spot, Ray.
And as always, you've got 5 minutes, and when you start talking, I'll put you on the clock.
Okay. Ray Breslin, 3 Gary Drive. Okay, so number one, I want to thank all you folks for the time you put in and the good work you do. But there was questions asked about what would you cut, how would you cut, and so forth. And that's something you got to look at every department. And all departments put in for what they think they're gonna need, for the coming year. And they do a good job, the police department, fire department, and so forth. But, there's always places that you can look at to cut back on. Something like, the number of vehicles, for what department are you referring to? I don't know, just the town in general has a few vehicles. Maybe you could cut back on a couple. Maybe not the fire department, maybe not the police department. But, and another thing is, always about priorities. You know, what are we spending our money on, and what are wish list items? One thing that comes to mind that I've probably mentioned before is when we're spending money on rail trails. Nice idea, people get out and exercise, use them, but it's like how many people use them and how many times during the year. For instance, they're not even plowed now unless you got skis. So, you know, priorities, you know, what are we spending the money on? And there's always places you can cut back on. Just for instance, I was on the committee for the Morrison House, Meeting House over here. And we spent some time talking about it, and the idea was that perhaps it would be put on a warrant article. Now, it's going back another year, and, you know, so currently I think we've spent something like, let's say, $50,000 on various studies to what are we going to do. And we still haven't decided what we're gonna do, you know? And so a lot to think about, a lot to consider, and thank you for what you do, and thank me for allowing me to speak.
Of course.
Thank you, Ray.
Anyone else for public comment?
John Faber, 73 Old Nashua Road. I just want to say thank you to Dave for, you know, taking this year and spending your time with it. I remember when I was in the audience as a audience member, not a council person, and you were applying for the open position to be appointed. And I thought, boy, that guy'd be good on budget committee, and he didn't get appointed. And I'm like, oh, that's too bad. And then I saw you ran, and then you got on there. And so it's been enjoyable to have some long nights with you guys, and it's been enjoyable to be your liaison. You know, Patrick's not here, but I think he's always had really thoughtful questions. I think he's a great personality. I've always liked and enjoyed talking to him, so I want to thank you both, and, you know, on your future endeavors and whatever you do, and see you around town. But just wanted to say thanks.
Sounds good, thank you.
All right, thank you, Sean.
And thank you to Patrick.
Anyone else for public comment?
Nick Mills, 30 Kendall Pond Road. I want to just thank you for your time and all your sacrifices that you've, you know, made to be here and help, you know, Londonderry grow on the budget.
Thank you.
Right? And I'd also like to say thank you to Patrick and thank you to Nicole for stepping up and running. And that was all. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Nick. Anyone else for public comment? All right, seeing none, can I have a motion to close public comment?
So moved.
Second?
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, that's 5-0 in favor. And with that, if there's nothing else from anyone here, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
All opposed? None opposed. That's 5-0 in favor, and the Londonderry Budget Committee will be adjourned at 7:59 this evening.